Hello YouTube, it's time for an update and at last we can do it. So many things got in the way, but I'm back, we can do it now. One or two of my projects in the last 18 months have been derailed for various reasons. Lots of them, I'll take responsibility for some, other things way out of my control, so it's kind of, I can't get annoyed, but at the same time it's really frustrating, especially when I've made a video saying I'm gonna do this and then it doesn't happen for whatever reason. So, what's in store for 2024? Less derailing, hopefully. So first of all, we've got Poo Through the Ages. This is written, it's done, it's illustrated, it's going to the printers next week and I can't wait. The illustrations by Luke Newell are just fantastic. Every time I look at it, something else in the illustrations makes me giggle, and that's just superb, isn't it? So that is nearly ready to go. It's coming out on April the 11th, but it's available to pre-order now. And some people have been asking, where's the audio? Well, the audio is coming. I'm going to Edinburgh in a couple of weeks' time to record that. It's going to be so much fun. And I'll take you with me. I'll take you along for the ride, as I always do. So that's Poo Through the Ages, the first in the series History Stinks. Yay. So the book Poo Through the Ages, History Stinks, it's for 7 to 8 plus. I know there's a lot of adults have ordered it as well, but that's what it's aimed at. Lots of history and lots of poo. Lots of toilets, lots of loo roll, lots of not having any loo roll, lots of silly stories, bringing kids into history in that way through the human body and the disgusting gooey things that the human body does. So that's Poo Through the Ages. As soon as I'd had the email from the editor saying this was ready to go to printers, he then said, can we talk about the next one? I was just like, can you just hold it in for a minute? No, we're on to the next one. We're talking about the next one already. This is called We Snot and Slime Through Time. So more of the above, more disgusting bodily things and history, and same age group, same series. So that's coming in a year's time. I'd best get on with writing that, hadn't I? So that's coming too. And in between, I'm writing another children's book, which is fully full colour, illustrated, and it's all medical history stuff. So I'll tell you more about that as it comes. As for grown-up books, I keep wanting to call them adult books to differentiate, but adult books just sounds a little bit dodgy, doesn't it? But as for books for grown-ups, these ones, Mortal Monarchs and Vital Organs, they need a sibling, don't they? I've got two ideas at the moment with publishers and hoping to follow both of them. One of them, I'll tell you, because people keep asking, people in America keep asking, and for a while I've been saying, no, we can't do it. A Mortal Monarchs-esque book about the US presidents and how they all died. And I initially was a bit reluctant because I thought it's just going to be the same book, How You Die is How You Die. But then I realised when I started looking at them with a view to writing the book, I realised that there were other themes, there were other ideas. There was how being in high office affects the body and or how any stressful office affects the body. And then there was medicine and the changes that have happened in medicine in the last, 250 years. Just less than that, actually. It was 1799 when Washington died. So in that time, the advances in medicine and how it's changed. And there's a lot more in the 20th century, of course, when it comes to US presidents than there were monarchs to talk about. So that's going to be something that I'm working with as well. You made me do it. But I mentioned before there was one big project that was derailed not so long ago. That's because something came up and I couldn't pursue it, even though I had been like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, it's going to be amazing. I haven't forgotten it, I just wasn't able to keep going because it's involving visiting, I think there's 18 different places in the UK and in Europe, going to visit the graves or the remains or what's left of the monarchs that I talked about in the book Mortal Monarchs and telling the stories while I'm there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resurrect that project. I'm going to get out, I'm going to go see them, I'm going to tell those stories. I'm just looking for one of my... Oh no, I haven't got one! Looking for one of my pet... Oh, there it is, there's one. There's always one handy. Getting the pen out to do some of those context charts to tell you what I'm talking about, going and telling those stories about what happened to them and their bodies and what happened to their bodies after death. I kind of want to get that project done. So that is on the agenda. I'm really excited about that. But that's not all, because I have another big project on the horizon, and that is another follow-up, another sister book to these ones. And it's all about death tourism, thanatourism, necrotourism, whatever you want to call it. But those places that people go to visit that are associated with death and tragedy, I want to go to those places. I want to tell those stories, what's happened there and why we go and visit them, and all the other stuff that surrounds this growing popular idea of death tourism. It's called dark tourism in other situations because there's other things that come into dark tourism, but I'm specifically interested in death, or death, as those of you who know, that's what I say. And that's what goes through my head when I try and say the word death, is death. But yeah, so death tourism. At the moment, it's called Fatal Attractions, and I can't wait to get it out there. That's going to be associated with a podcast. A lot of people have been asking about podcasts, and that's going to come. That's all going to be in together. I'm doing that with a friend. We're going to put that together later in the year, so that's coming too. And in amongst all of that, I'm going to try and get around the place, because I need to get out. I need to, as much as I love my shed, I need to get out and see readers and see you guys out and about. And so associated with those tours, there's going to be visits to bookshops and talks and all the rest of it as well. I'm going to put together an itinerary, a programme, and I will let you know where I'm going to be. And we can maybe sign some books, because I know people have been asking about signed copies. Mortal Monarchs, I'm afraid, I think that the hardbacks of that are done. It's incredible, but yeah, the paperback of that is still available in the US as well. It's available now. Vital Organs paperback is coming in July, and that's not got a date for America yet, so I don't know what's happening there. It's available in audio and in ebook. The audios have been doing really well, which is why I guess the audios for these are doing great, which is why I guess this one is going to be done in a couple of weeks. So that's where we're at. There's a lot going on, and I don't know, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I think the biggest issue is funding. And I'm going to, for my Mortal Monarchs tour, I'm going to look for a sponsor for that. But there's also my Patreon page, and there's merch as well, because the merch people really loved that. My daughter did I don't have a mug with me. My daughter did a design, and that's available as well. So we'll get those out and use Patreon and try and find a sponsor for the tour, and we'll take it from there. But it's going to be videos mostly on YouTube of that. That's what we're going to create. I'm sure there's more. But that's just what's in my head this morning, and that's what's coming for me in 24. Thanks for coming along for the ride. It's been amazing, really. I couldn't have imagined this a couple of years ago. Even a couple of years ago, I couldn't have imagined that we'd get this far. But we're going to take it further, you and me.